they always are, you know, always. Never, ever do we coordinate, the musicians and me, on our, they know the basic topic, and it's amazing. It's a God thing. They're always so perfect. So, thank you. So, there's kind of a special thing happening later today. You guys might have heard my ordination, and you can really tell because the room's all messed up. I mean, how many of you walked in and felt that jittery, wait, there's an aisle where there's not supposed to be an aisle, and where's my normal side spot, and you move my seat around. Everybody feel that? For those of you, this is your first time, there's normally 2 side aisles and no center aisles. So, a few of us here are a little discombobulated with the room makeup. But that's for my ordination later this afternoon, and I'm so blessed to have everyone's presence here. We're ending the month of August today, and our theme for August has been co-creating a world that works for everyone. Co-creating a world that works for everyone. And that's been the theme of all the topics this month. And so today I want to talk about science of mind at work in the world. Because that's how we're going to co-create a world that works for everyone, is to not just sit here and learn about science of mind and understand the principles and take tests and be able to recite, you know, what we believe and all of that, but to actually take our consciousness with us out into the world and work it every moment of every day. And this afternoon during my ordination ceremony, that's the commitment that I am making, is to live my life like that, whether I'm up here on Sunday or whether I'm at the driver's license bureau. So I'm going to invite you all to make a similar commitment with me here today, and I'm going to talk about how this works. Ernest Holmes, I meant to have the exact quote, but I don't have it exactly, but he said something like, I would rather have one person who practices these principles than all the people who can recite all the words of wisdom ever written. And I think sometimes that's what happens when we come to a Science Mind Center. We learn a lot about the principles, and we know about them, and we can recite them, and then we go out into the world as if that's separate. And we find ourselves getting angry, and we hold resentments, and we want to blame everybody out there, and we think our life would be better if those people over there would change. And then we come back on Sunday, and we sit there, and we nod as the minister talks about the principles, and go, oh yes, of course that's true, of course that's true. And so I want to invite us all to stop it, and actually walk what we say we believe, which is the hardest thing anyone can ever do. Ernest Holmes said that this philosophy is simple, but not easy. It is simple, which is why we sit here on Sunday and go, I get it, it's so simple, but it's not easy. And I recognize that. And so I want to tell you about a little adventure that I have been on with my beloved Steve and some others for the last several months. Many of you know it, a few of you had some yesterday, but I want to tell you about it and how we have put science of mind to work in the world. We're not perfect, but we're really working on it. About a year ago, Steve decided that he wanted to start a new business. And he and I, having worked together for all these years, eventually I jumped on board. And so this was something we were going to kind of do on the side. And the name of our business is Tilford's Wood-Fired Pizza. So we started from the beginning saying we are going to start this business using the principles of science of mind. This is not going to be Steve's the executive director of CSL and Judy's the senior minister at Foothills over here, and then we're going to walk over here and do Tilford's Wood-Fired Pizza and be somebody different. We wanted to bring who we are in this teaching to a business endeavor that we were both excited and passionate about. And so our motto is the 3 Ps, pizza, passion, and profit. All good things, right? Yeah. So we started with this foundational idea that we were going to use the principles of science of mind in everything we did. And so this business has blossomed. Now we haven't even officially launched. Our trailer, it's a mobile wood-fired pizza trailer. If you are so inclined, until 5 o'clock today, it's over at the Evergreen Fine Arts Festival with our crew running it. I invite you to go try some. Those of you who had some yesterday, I hope you thought it was good. I'm looking at these two over there because you can see Maggie and Andy give testimonials later. I think everybody saw me there yesterday. People in the congregation saw me and they thought, that ministry gig must not be working out for Reverend Judy. What's going on over there? mobile trailer last Sunday. So I want to talk to you about how, in the last 2 weeks, Science of Mind has worked to bring this thing from idea to fruition. Now, I work most of the time during the day with a young man named Tanner, and yes, I have Tanner's permission. He's been here, a couple of you might have met him, and I have his permission to talk about him today. Tanner knows nothing about Science Mind, or he didn't until he met Steve and me. He's read Science Mind magazine a few times now, and he's been here a couple times, but I wouldn't call him a practicing religious scientist, and yet I would. He's one of those people Ernest Holmes talks about. He can't recite any of the words of wisdom, but he puts these principles to work in the world every day. So Tanner and I, in the last 2 weeks, we've had to get the trailer licensed at the Department of Motor Vehicles. We've had to go to the Denver Office of Excise and Licensing to get a Denver business license. We've had to go to the Jefferson County office to do the same thing. And then we've had to have this sucker inspected by the health departments, right? Tanner and I made a pact that no matter what happened, we were not going to blame anybody. We were going to be kind, and we were going to be grateful for the help anyone gave us. We set that pact when we set out on this adventure. That's how Science of Mind works in the world. Okay, we don't know. No, but more specifically, it comes down to 3 things. It comes down to taking responsibility, practicing kindness, it's so simple, and empathy. Empathy. I think empathy is missing in our world a lot. So let me talk first about responsibility. We are responsible for how we feel every moment. That's hard because we are brought up to believe that things out there happen and we react to them, and the reason we feel the way we do is because of the thing out there that happened. But that is not the way it's supposed to work. The way it works is that we can choose. No matter what happens out there, we can choose how we feel. During the Holocaust, Viktor Frankl chose to continue to look for meaning in the Holocaust. I think if he can do that, we can stay calm when someone cuts us off in traffic. Because it's not because of the other person that we feel however we feel, it's because of something in us that has been triggered. And it's identifying that. And when we can take responsibility for that, then we know that it's not happening out there, but that we're in control and that we can choose. So we had a great moment where Tanner and I, the first thing we have to do in order to get to operate as a food trailer in the state of Colorado is you have to have the trailer license through the Department of Motor Vehicles. And so I've been using that example because what a beautiful place to study human nature. Really. So Tanner and I have to go get a license for this trailer. We don't physically yet have the trailer. It has been shipped. We have a bill of sale and a VIN number. But we can't wait because we had thought our first event was going to be toward the end of September, or the middle of September. But we had an opportunity to be at the Evergreen Fine Arts Festival this weekend. And we really wanted to take that opportunity. So the trailer is en route from Jacksonville, Florida, but Tanner and I are going to go get the license plate. So we sit down and we say, okay, it's not exactly a prayer, but we set our intention. This is going to go smoothly. It's going to be easy. And we're prepared that we may have documents missing. We've never done this before, and we may have to come back another day. But we're just going to ask questions, we're going to be patient, and we're going to be nice. We took responsibility for that. We walked in, we took our number, it was number 657. They're serving like 625 or whatever, you know. We're like, okay, that's fine. We played on our phones, we chatted, we're not going to get impatient, we were not going to get upset. Now we are consciously doing this. We are consciously reminding one another that we're going to do this. We sit down, we totally take responsibility for how we feel. We sit down, they call 657, we get up to the counter, guy goes through, and we have a photocopy of what's called the MSO, the Manufacturer Statement of Origin. It's been scanned from the manufacturer in Florida to us. We have a photocopy, and the lovely clerk behind the desk says, we need the original. And we say it's in Florida. He says, we need the original. There are 2 things missing from your packet, the original and a letter saying that you, Judy, me, have the responsibility to sign on behalf of this company. And I said, I'm the owner of the company. The letter would come from me. So you you want me to write a letter saying that I have the authority on my behalf to sign for this company on my behalf? And he says, yes. Now, this was a learning moment. I looked over at Tanner, who's just grinning at me like, remember? I'm like, okay, I'm going to take responsibility here. All right, we can do that. We'll come back tomorrow. Thank you. Thanked him. Thank you for your help. Thank you for showing us what we need. We go back, we email the manufacturer, he overnights the MSO. Next day, Tanner and I go down there, we pull a number, we couldn't believe it, it was 657. We look at each other, we're like, okay, this is a little weird, okay? So we sit down, we go to wait, we sit down, we're in our cheery mood, and Tanner goes, did you write the letter? And I went, oh, I forgot the letter. Now, what I could feel come up in me is, this letter is stupid, I can't believe they're making me do this, if those people weren't so bureaucratic, we could wait and take our number here. So I felt that coming up in me. Can anyone relate to this? But no, I'm responsible. I knew yesterday that I was supposed to have this letter, I forgot it. This isn't about the DMV and what they need, stupid as I may think it is. I knew, I forgot. So I look over at Tanner and I go, they're serving, 642, do you think we can do it? He says, let's do it. So we keep the number, 657. We run to his car. We drive back to our office in Lakewood. So we're over at the Jefferson County Government Center, aka the Taj Mahal. We're there and we race back to our office in Lakewood. He drops me off in front. I'm wearing these spiky little sandals, so I take them off. I leave them in the car. I run up the steps. He swings around the building. I type up a letter on our letterhead. To whom it may concern, Judy Morley has authority to sign on behalf of this company. Sincerely, Judy Morley. Print it out, grab it. I come running back down the stairs. Tanner's just pulling up. I hop in the car. He goes racing. We race back to the government center. He pulls up. I take my sandals off again. I run inside. I get up. I walk in. They go, number 657. And we get up there. Smooth as glass. You know what the woman does say? And so the trailer's present here? And we said, well, it's en route from Jacksonville. It'll be here this weekend. She goes, so the trailer's present here? And we said, yes. She said, very good. This was a lovely woman. Young lady, but Haley, by the time we left, Tanner and I were like, hey, if you ever see us at a festival, come, we'll give you a free pizza. You've been so helpful. Thank you. Smooth, smooth, smooth. How much easier than being angry that I needed this ridiculous letter and that now I have to go back another day. I took responsibility. We got to take responsibility for how I feel. This is not about Haley or the DMV or their rules. We are responsible to find out. Next thing is kindness. 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 There's a definite lack of kindness. We are unkind when we feel threatened unconsciously. When something pushes our button and we feel fear or anger, and it's triggered not probably from what's happening right now, but from something that happened maybe decades ago, that is when we have a tendency to be unkind. We don't even know we're doing it, and in our own mind we have justified it because that person did something. Well, they were rude to me first. Well, they're incompetent. Well, whatever. That is not a reason, it's an excuse. We can be kind in the face of anything. So another story is Tanner and I now we're at the City of Denver Department of Excise and Licensing, where you go get a business license. We start out the process. Again, we don't know how long this is going to take. We're willing to come back multiple days. We're sure we don't have what we need. We're fine. We go, and we're sitting in this department, and we're watching people get angry. We're watching people get angry at the people behind the counter because they didn't look up online and find out what the regulations are. Because they don't know the rules that that the government has passed that these poor folks who are just implementing them have no control over. And so people are getting mad at them and, you're costing me money, but I'm going to lose 5 days in this business now and you're costing me money. And Tanner and I watched this and said, So we walked up to the guy at Excise and we said, we don't know what we don't know. We need your help. Could you please help walk us through the process? Totally shifted the energy. He pulls out a packet. He looks up the phone numbers we need to call for us. He makes us a list of all the things we need to do to get the license. It helps us so much. We're like, thank you, thank you, thank you. We leave. We know it's going to be several weeks before we can get back. We went back a week ago last Monday. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. And Tanner and I met at 2 o'clock. We're like, okay, let's just clear the decks. 2 to 5, we're going to be here all afternoon. Let's not plan anything until this evening. And we may have to come back in the morning because we just don't understand what we're doing. But we weren't going to let anything shake us from being kind to these people. So we walk in, 2 o'clock. We sit down. We say, okay, we still don't know what we don't know, but here's what we've gotten so far. What do we need? Short story, we were out by 2:21. The guy had been so nice before that when we met this lady, she did everything for us. She just, you have that, so that's what you need this, but let's just Google it. We'll just find it. Let's have a Google it. She helped us every step of the way, and we were, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Meanwhile, sitting next to us was a gentleman who'd just been told that he didn't have everything he needed for his business license. And he's yelling at the person who's helping him. I'm a small business owner. Do you know how much money you're costing me? And this poor young man who's helping him is getting frazzled. And, well, sir, we have to have this sheet of paper and it needs to be notarized. I said, well, do you have a notary here? No, we don't, but you can go to your bank. I don't have time to go to my bank. So Tanner and I are watching this interaction as our lovely person is being so kind and helpful. And we're just watching it. And I'm thinking, this isn't helping. This isn't helping. What this gentleman over here wanted was for the process to be easy. And his anger and his finger pointing and his blaming was not making this young man be more helpful. It was actually slowing the whole thing down. So what I want you all to remember is that kindness makes it go smoother. You may want to have that anger and that old stuff come up and, grow up all over the person in front of you, but don't. Because it doesn't help. The lovely woman who was helping us actually excused herself, and she went over to the guy next to her, and she said to the angry man, she said, sir, I am so sorry. We don't want your business to suffer either. I would love nothing more than to be able to do this today. But it's a government regulation, and I can't break the law. So is there anything else I can do to help you today to make this go more smoothly? Which brings me to the third point, which is empathy. This young lady showed great empathy for this man. So when we approach people in the world with empathy, again, that's science of mind at work. Because each one of us is a divine emanation of God. No matter how you're showing up in the moment, we are all one with that creative intelligence. And every single one of us has shown up like we are absolutely certain that we are the divine incarnate, and every single one of us has shown up as if we've completely forgotten that. Nobody is immune. No matter how pious we think we are, no matter how many science mind classes we've taken, no matter how many stoles have been conferred upon us, there are moments where we forget. Judging someone who's in that moment of forgetting does not make them remember. But empathy makes them remember. Empathy brings us back to that center where we remember who and whose we are. So the last step in our great trailer adventure was to get inspected by the health department. Now, again, this trailer, we think we're good. The manufacturer's in Florida. Steve job of designing the trailer. The manufacturers have been calling the Jeffco Health Department all along going, what size sink, how deep a bay, how far away does the generator have to be from the propane tank, and things I never in a million years thought I would know. I now know. But, but we think we're okay, but we don't know. And again, last minute, we don't even have the trailer, and we find out we're supposed to be at this festival in Jefferson County in 8 days. We're like, okay, we gotta do this. So Tanner and I looked at each other and we said, you know what, there's nothing that with enough kindness and empathy and money, we can't accomplish. There is nothing that we can't accomplish. With enough kindness and empathy and money. So we may have to find a rush thing, we may have to pay a little extra, we may have to do, but we're gonna get it. So we go to the health department, we fill out the form, we download, it's a hotline to the manufacturer in Jacksonville, what's the cubic whatever of our water tanks, how deep is our sink bay? We don't have the trailer, we can't go measure it, they have all the schematics. We fill it out, we go racing into the Jeffco Health Department, and everybody's in a meeting for the entire day. And so I asked the woman behind the desk, I say, do you have a rush? Do you have a special rush application? We'll pay extra, we'll do whatever. Do you have And she said, no, we can't, we don't do an expedited process. It takes 7 to 10 days, business days. And I said, well, in 5 business days, we're supposed to have an event. And I said, it came up at the last minute. We thought our first event was in September, but now it's come up. We'd really like to be there. Is there anything you can do? She leaves and she goes and she gets her boss out of whatever all-day meeting they're in and brings this woman out. And the woman, I said, now this is where everybody comes in, I said, thank you so much for stepping out of your meeting for us. That must have been really difficult for you to leave the meeting. I'm so grateful that you have done this. Here's our situation. I explained it. She looks at our application. She says, well, we don't have an expedited process and the person who needs to review this isn't here. But you know what, let me go do something. She goes back into the back somewhere, comes back with a sticky note, and she says, they have an event on 8/27. Can you please rush? Thanks, Terry. And then she gets another sticky note. She goes, I know you got your business card on here, but give me your name and phone number so they got it right here. She does it. And so she says, we're going to get this for you. This is great. We're going to try to get it for you. I know what it's like being a small business person. She was so empathetic to us. She saw Tanner's and my panic, kind panic, but panic nonetheless. And her empathy was, for us, greased the skids. By 10 o'clock the next morning, I talked on the phone to the health inspector. This is on a Friday. Our inspection was set up 1:30 on Monday. Passed. We're doing business. So, every step of the way, we have done what everybody has told us was impossible because we practiced science and mind in the world. We took responsibility, and we didn't blame any of the process. We practiced kindness no matter what. And we both practiced and experienced empathy from the people that we came into contact with. And so I can honestly say, Steve and I are franchising this concept of this wood-fired pizza trailer. We are the franchisors, and we're licensed in all 50 states to sell franchises. So when he and I get up on stage and have to tell our franchisees about the regulatory process, I can say, I met the most helpful, wonderful, kind people who walked us through the process every step of the way. And if you go into it with the right attitude, and you go into it practicing responsibility, kindness, and empathy, you can too. And that's how I have worked Science Mind, and how Steve and I are putting it to work in the world, is by coaching everybody we come into contact with to do this too. And so that's your invitation today. Your invitation is whatever might frustrate you, wherever you are pointing fingers at a system or a rule or a guideline or a group of people or something that you feel is oppressing you or stopping you from your good, know that that is not the truth. Nothing can stand in the way of your good except you. So go to that place. Take responsibility for what's yours. Be kind. It's so simple. And empathize with the fellow travelers to the grave, as Charles Dickens said. Empathize. And you will find that science mind then works in the world, and then the world works for everyone. Let's pray. So what I recognize here and now in this moment is that life is a magnificent journey that is guided by Spirit every single step of the way. That God is the motive power of every single thing that happens on this planet. That we are here to express and experience this power. We are here to be one with the love and the joy that is God. We are here to, by our consciousness and our attitude, to bring light, to be light, to experience light in the world. And so I know for each of us that whatever may have happened prior to this day, we set it down. Whatever reactions we may have that keep us from fully understanding our power, that keep us from fully understanding that we are in control of our lives, we leave those behind right here, right now. When we take the next step forward in absolute faith and trust that God is guiding us, when we feel into that place of peace, of kindness, of joy, when we feel good, we are expressing good. And so I just accept for each one of us that we leave here today with a new thought about this. We leave here today going into the world expressing science of mind, making it work, not just learning about it, but living it in a new and deeper level that each one of us now can practice in our day-to-day lives every step of the journey. And so recognizing that each person here now is a deeper and brighter beacon of light, beacon of this philosophy, beacon of that kindness and empathy that makes the world go round. I just give grateful, grateful thanks for that one life that is the truth of this, for that God life that is all life, all light, all power, peace, joy, harmony, order, balance, and love. And I know that each one of us embraces that, steps into it, feels into it, and allows it to flow through us as we become conduits of that divine energy. And so with great gratitude that that energy exists and that it works every time, no exceptions, I just let these words go. I allow that alchemy of love and law to work on them and make them so and bring them into fruition so that we do indeed experience a world that works for everyone. Knowing that this is so, I let it be. And so it is.